Rory responds back to Joe Budden. That's right, y'all. Rory just tweeted something that is clearly a shot at Joe Budden, and this comes on the heel of Joe Budden addressing Rory and Maul for calling him a thief all these years later. Now, what did Rory do? Well, he tweeted a passage from some book he was likely reading that is nothing other than a veiled shot at Joe Budden. And a lot of you might be saying, Danny, you're reaching, but let's read what this passage in the book said. Blamer. People who blame everyone else for the problems in their life often have the most ironic wound of all. They secretly believe they are to blame for everything, but this wound is buried so far away that the protective self doesn't even experience it. It just constantly looks externally for people doing them wrong. Blamers freely offer criticisms about everyone else, but react quite badly when confronted with criticisms. Now, this is obviously a reference to Joe Budden. You can't tell me different, as a lot of it could publicly seem like it aligns with Joe Budden's character, his psyche, and I would guarantee you that there's people in New Jersey on the couch like Ish and Flip that probably agree with this. But Rory also tweeted another passage, and here's what that one said. This one's pretty long, so I don't know if I'm going to read the whole thing. This is just a continuation. They'll judge or insult others, but a minor disagreement from anyone is seen as an assault on their identity. They may have a puffed up image of themselves that pretends to love criticisms, but when genuine arguments occur, they become extremely defensive, accusatory, and dismissive. They'll accuse others of being hysterical or hypersensitive, while they themselves are the ones exhibiting this quality. They use manipulation and blame to turn the conversation back on the other person. It is particularly difficult to get through this protective self because it is projecting so many of its own faults onto other people. It cannot admit fault or even entertain these ideas because that would take them down the dark path toward their wound. Even when proven to be false, the blamer cannot take responsibility or apologize. To any onlooker, it looks almost silly what lengths they go on in order to avoid admitting fault. To approach healing, blamers will need to turn their focus away from their external stories of blame and keep their attention on difficult sensations that arise when they're not obsessing over other people. The protective self has kept blamers distracted with thinking about other people because it does not want to dive inside where the pain lives. But as a blamer, you can make this leap, and I promise it will not consume you. Now, after reading this passage out loud, I must say, yeah, this is 100% about Joe Budden. And yeah, a lot of this actually overlaps with Joe. Like, he will call other people sensitive, and you know, the truth is he's actually sensitive, and at one point he was so sensitive, likely that he just started to create this persona of him being a hard shell person and using his audience to dismiss other people's valid critiques of him. See, when you're successful, the stuff outlined is totally fine. I mean, there's a lot of people in successful positions that, you know, their flaws are okay because they're able to entertain or they're able to pay people money, and the people around them have to just be okay with these qualities. But Joe Budden would not go silent, as he would post something on his Instagram about him being a Virgo and how, you know, he can cut people off if he knows them for 10 years. Real detachment cycle. I mean, this guy's like a male escort. But you know, these guys are responding to each other in baddie talk. This is real baddie stuff going on. This is the baddie Olympics. You have Rory tweeting passages from a book. You have Joe Budden posting about how he's a Virgo. You know, this is just, I can't describe it any other way than baddie talk. So let me know what you think. Remember, this comes because Joe Budden was alluding to seeing Rory at a Lucky Day concert.
You get one time to speak to me like that. And if I love you enough to not knock your entire head off your shoulders, then I'm going to just walk away and not speak about it ever again. There's no harm for me. Once you identify the threat, you get them away from you, and that's the end of that. Them accused me of stealing and thievery as a friend that was doing a lot of friend shit. So now you got to stand on that. You got to stand on that. I'm standing on mine. I wouldn't steal from none of my friends, wouldn't think about it. That's like the furthest thought in the world for me. That's not the man that I am. I'm standing on that.
Now it appears Rory did not see Joe at a Lucky Day concert. He only saw Imani, so we will have to see what happened. I don't know what's going on here. This is crazy. The war continues between both of these parties. These guys got to talk it out. But the thing is, like what Rory outlined in this passage, I don't know. I think Joe Budden wants to come away from this whole back and forth with Rory and Mal saying that he did no wrong. And I don't think Rory and Mal are comfortable with that type of resolution. Like, they probably would need Joe to take some accountability of, you know, the way he ran the business, and Joe simply will not do that. I think Joe believes that because in his mind he overpaid Rory and Mal for the work that they did, they should be okay with whatever happened with the business. That's kind of what I see. And for me, aired in a lot of business things. Like, he has admitted that he did not provide accounting when he was supposed to, even though it was in the contract that Rory and Mal could ask for accounting whenever they wanted to. And often he just says, like, oh, you're not supposed to ask for accounting. So a lot of this is very, very interested. This is a lot. This is a lot, man. This is a lot because this is why my channel exists. I often say that a lot of people say it's because of Joe Budden. No, it's Joe Budden, Rory, and Mal. The breakup. And that breakup is the lens under which we see a lot of other podcast breakups. And the reason this one has legs is because nobody is addressing the true feelings, the feelings. So let me know what you think. Let me know how you think this proceeds forward. I'm guessing Rory is doing this because he doesn't want to respond on his show, but I'm pretty sure Joe will respond to this in some passive-aggressive way or some aggressive way. And I still have to do a video about Joe Budden having Brandon Jennings on the show. That was super odd. But follow me on Instagram, The Stop TV. Follow me on Twitter, The Stop TV. Also, I have my response to Homeroom coming. I mean, I don't know if I really wanted to, it was on Patreon, but I was like, let me give it for the free skis. Even though it was $3, the Patreon was only $3. So let me give it for the free skis on YouTube. You pay with your data instead. All right, y'all. This is Danny from The Stop. Peace.